When Friends ended in 2004, all 6 cast members had one thing in common. They were all millionaires, but 20 years later, the gap between their bank accounts is absolutely insane. Some of them made billions, while others, well, let's just say they struggled with their money. In this video, we're ranking the entire Friends cast by net worth and revealing exactly how each actor built or lost their fortune. But here's the shocking part. The richest one might not be who you think. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be shocked at who's actually winning and who's burning through their cash faster than they can make it. And if you want to know which Friends actor is secretly struggling despite being on one of the biggest shows ever, you're definitely going to want to watch this. So, let me break down exactly how much money each cast member has made from Friends alone, plus all their businesses, endorsements, and investments. We're talking tens of millions in some cases, and these numbers might surprise you way more than you expect. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up to the absolute wealthiest Friends actor alive. Coming in at number 6 with an estimated net worth between $80 to $100 million is Matt LeBlanc. Now, before you think that's not a lot, remember, this is still more money than most people will see in 10 lifetimes. But here's the thing about Matt. He's actually the most private actor about his finances, so some estimates put him even lower than this. Why? Because unlike his castmates, Matt didn't leverage his Friends fame into a massive business empire. During Friends, he was making huge money. We're talking $1.2 million per episode by the final seasons, just like the others. But after the show ended, something shifted. Matt tried his hand at several TV projects that honestly didn't work out. Shows got canceled, movies flopped, and while he was still working and making 6 figures, he wasn't the A-list movie star he probably hoped to become. The guy actually lost serious money in various business ventures and investments that went south. He even went through a pretty expensive divorce with his ex-wife Melissa, which drained his accounts. But here's where it gets interesting. Matt made a huge comeback with Top Gear Australia, which brought him back into the spotlight and rebooted his income. He's also been doing solid work in television, staying off the endorsement deal carousel that his castmates jumped into. So yes, 80 to 100 million is nothing to laugh at. But compared to the others, Matt's actually the lowest on this list, and he's been the quietest about his money, which honestly says something about his character. At number 5, with an estimated net worth just over $100 million, is David Schwimmer. Now, David's an interesting case because his net worth isn't just from Friends. He was making those huge per-episode payments like everyone else, but he actually invested in something that a lot of his castmates didn't focus on as heavily: real estate and directing. After Friends ended, David didn't chase the blockbuster movie career like others. Instead, he went hard into directing, producing, and theater. This sounds like a downgrade, right? But here's the business smart part. Directing TV shows and producing content actually pays incredibly well, and he was doing it consistently. Plus, David made some seriously smart real estate moves. He invested in properties when prices were lower and has built up a substantial portfolio. The thing is, David's kind of the invisible actor from Friends. He never had the household name status of Jennifer Aniston. He wasn't in endorsement deals for skincare brands or luxury companies. He was doing solid, consistent work, good money, smart investments, but not building a brand like some of his castmates. His net worth is around $100 million, but some financial analysts think it could be higher based on his real estate holdings alone. He's also been known to be relatively private about his wealth, not flaunting it like others in the industry. But when you see who's at number 4, you're going to realize that David actually stayed the most focused, while others got distracted by shiny opportunities. At number 4, we have Matthew Perry with approximately $120 to $130 million. Now, Matthew's story is actually one of the most interesting on this list because his net worth doesn't tell the full story of his life. Here's what happened. During Friends, Matthew was making massive money. By the later seasons, he was pulling in $1.2 million per episode, which is an absurd amount of money for a TV actor. And he was doing this while battling something that nobody really knew about at the time: serious addiction issues. Matthew struggled with alcohol and prescription pill addiction for years while Friends was still shooting. This isn't just a personal tragedy. It actually affected his finances too. When you're dealing with addiction, you're often making poor financial decisions, going to expensive rehab facilities, and not necessarily making the best career moves. Some reports suggest he spent tens of millions on his recovery and treatment over the years. Plus, unlike Jennifer Aniston or some of his castmates, Matthew didn't jump on the endorsement gravy train as hard. He wasn't launching skincare lines or jumping into beauty deals. But here's something crucial. Matthew made a major financial comeback. As his personal struggles became more public and he became open about his recovery journey, he actually became more valuable to networks and studios. His roles became more deliberate, his directing work started bringing in serious money, and his honesty about his journey made him an asset in prestige projects. So, while he's at $120 million, he absolutely has the capacity to keep growing that number. What's wild is that despite all his personal struggles, he's still one of the wealthiest actors from the show. And honestly, his comeback story is inspiring. Tied with Matthew Perry at number 3, we have Lisa Kudrow with approximately $120 to $130 million. Lisa's net worth is interesting because it's built on a completely different foundation than some of her castmates. While she wasn't out here launching billion-dollar skincare companies or becoming the face of major endorsement deals, Lisa was incredibly smart about her post-Friends career. She didn't take a break after Friends ended. She jumped into steady, consistent work almost immediately. Lisa did voice acting for major studios. We're talking Disney and Pixar projects, which pay extremely well for major voice actors. She did her own series called Web Therapy, which became a cult hit and showed that she had staying power beyond Monica's brother's wife. She's been in consistent television work, in comedies, in dramatic roles, building a diverse portfolio. Plus, here's something people don't realize. Lisa's been doing this intelligently. She's not necessarily going for the biggest paycheck every time. She's been selective, which actually keeps her desirable and in demand. Lisa also kept her personal life incredibly private, which actually helped her brand stay strong. She didn't become tabloid fodder. She didn't make wild financial decisions that got publicized. She just steadily worked, made smart choices, and built wealth quietly. Her net worth of $120 to $130 million might seem like it's the same as Matthew's, but here's the difference. Lisa built her wealth consistently without the personal struggles or financial mistakes. She's basically the most stable earner on this list, which is honestly more impressive than people realize. But here's where things get wild, because number 2 made almost twice as much as Lisa. At number 2 with an estimated net worth of $150 million is Courteney Cox. Now, Courteney is fascinating because her net worth actually proves that you don't need to be the most famous to be the richest. She was never a household name the way Jennifer Aniston was. She didn't get the same endorsement deals or become the face of skincare and beauty brands. But here's what Courteney did do. She made incredibly smart business decisions. First, Courteney negotiated her salary pretty aggressively as the seasons went on. She was making comparable amounts to the rest of the cast by the final seasons, around $1.2 million per episode. But the difference was in what she did after Friends. She didn't scatter her efforts. She did the Scream franchise, which brought in consistent paychecks and kept her relevant in pop culture. But more importantly, Courteney made brilliant real estate investments. We're talking about purchasing properties in high-value areas, holding on to them as they appreciated, and building wealth through property ownership rather than just salary. She also was smart about her endorsement deals. She didn't do every deal that came her way, which actually made her more valuable. She was selective, which kept her brand strong and her deals more lucrative when she did take them. Plus, Courteney has been in a stable, long-term relationship and marriage, which meant she wasn't blowing money on constant dating, breakups, or messy divorces that drain bank accounts. Her money has just quietly accumulated through smart choices, real estate appreciation, and steady work. What's crazy is that Courteney Cox is probably one of the least talked about in terms of net worth discussions, but she's the second richest on this list. That's actually the ultimate power move. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to who's in first place. Because the gap between number 2 and number 1 is absolutely staggering. And finally, at number 1 with a net worth estimated between $320 to $350 million is Jennifer Aniston. Let's be real here. Jennifer didn't just become the richest Friends actor by accident. This is a woman who understood brand power, leverage, and how to monetize her position in a way that literally no other cast member did. During Friends, she was the breakout star. Her hairstyle became iconic. Her fashion choices made headlines. She was the household name that transcended the show itself. And she used that power strategically. First of all, Jennifer understood the endorsement game. After Friends ended, while other actors were picking projects here and there, Jennifer was signing endorsement deals left and right. We're talking about becoming the face of major brands. Hair care products, skincare brands, luxury goods. Each of these deals was worth millions. But here's the genius part. Jennifer didn't just slap her face on random products. She actually invested in companies and built actual business relationships. She's been involved in production deals, which means she's not just getting paid to act. She's also getting a piece of the back end, the profits, the long-term earnings from shows and content she's involved in. Then there's the skincare empire angle. While I want to be careful not to overstate exactly which companies are hers versus which she endorses, Jennifer has been absolutely strategic about the skincare and wellness space, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. She's positioned herself as someone who cares about aging gracefully and self-care, and she's monetized that positioning brilliantly. But the real money comes from her acting career combined with smart real estate investments. Jennifer owns multiple properties in some of the most expensive real estate markets in the world. We're talking about a real estate portfolio worth tens of millions of dollars alone. Plus, here's something crucial that separates Jennifer from everyone else on this list. She maintained her A-list status. While some cast members had career dips or struggled to find their footing post-Friends, Jennifer never really had that problem. She stayed relevant, stayed desired, stayed in demand. She did prestige projects and commercial projects. She maintained her power in the industry, which meant she could negotiate huge paychecks for whatever she wanted to do. And that power is worth more than money. It's literally what creates the money. So, when you're looking at Jennifer Aniston's net worth of $320 to $350 million, you're not just looking at Friends money. You're looking at a woman who understood her own brand value and leveraged it into multiple revenue streams. She built an empire while her castmates were just working jobs. That's the difference. Jennifer didn't ask, "What should I do next?" She asked, "How can I make this profitable and maintain my power?" And she's been answering that question correctly for 20 years straight. And honestly, that's not even a criticism of the other actors. It's just a reminder that wealth isn't just about talent or luck. It's about understanding your own value and having the confidence to demand what you're actually worth. So let's put this in perspective for a second. Jennifer Aniston at $320 million is worth more than 4 of her castmates combined. Think about that. She's worth more than Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, and about half of what Courteney Cox and Lisa Kudrow make put together. That's the difference between being the breakout star who understands brand power versus being incredibly talented, but not necessarily focused on that empire-building aspect of the business. And here's the wild part. Jennifer is still making new money from Friends. When the show is rerun, when it streams on Netflix, when someone watches reruns on HBO Max, everyone involved gets residual payments. But Jennifer's name carries enough weight that studios want her involved in new projects, new ventures, new opportunities. The entire cast is incredibly wealthy. Like, all of them are richer than 99.9% of the world's population. But the distribution of that wealth, the way they built it, that's what separates them. Now, here are some facts about their wealth that might actually surprise you. First of all, Matthew Perry's comeback in recent years has been remarkable financially. Before his recent projects, some estimates had him much lower on this list. But his honest approach to his recovery and his willingness to take meaningful roles has actually made him more valuable as an actor. That's actually a beautiful thing about celebrity wealth. Sometimes personal honesty becomes professional currency. Second, Lisa Kudrow's consistent, steady approach to wealth building is actually the most healthy on this list. She didn't have the personal drama that other actors did. She didn't make flashy financial mistakes. She just made good choices and let compound growth do its thing. That's honestly the blueprint more people should follow, celebrity or not. Third, Courteney Cox's real estate game is seriously underrated. Some financial analysts believe her real estate portfolio alone could be worth over $50 million. That's just property value. Add in her salary and career earnings, and you see why she's at $150 million. David Schwimmer actually had one of the smartest career pivots. By going into directing and producing, he positioned himself to make money in multiple ways. Producers and directors don't just get a paycheck, they get a percentage of profits. So even though his name isn't splashed across endorsement deals, his actual earning potential might be more stable than someone with tons of endorsements, because endorsement deals end, but a successful TV show generates revenue for years. And finally, Matt LeBlanc's privacy about finances is actually kind of refreshing. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He's living his life, working on projects he enjoys, and not obsessing over his net worth. There's actually something really cool about that approach. But I want to know what you think. In the comments below, tell me, who do you think spent their friends' money the smartest? Who made the best choices? And are you surprised by these rankings? If this video blew your mind, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're going to be diving deep into the Friends cast's personal lives, their business ventures, their drama, and everything else you never knew about them. In our next video, we're covering the most shocking behind-the-scenes feuds and drama that almost broke the cast apart. And trust me, some of this stuff is wild. So hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss that video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and one more thing. Comment down below which cast member's financial strategy you'd actually want to follow in real life. Let's start a real conversation about wealth building. See you soon.